Hi and welcome back to my channel. You guys know I love talking about travel. So today I'm going to be talking about the IDs that you're going to need to bring to the airport in 2018, depending on your state. Now, you may or may not be aware that in 2018, a lot of states are doing some different things when it comes to traveling and the IDs that you need to be able to get through the security gate. So ever since the Department of Homeland Security started alerting travelers that their state issue IDs may not be enough to board domestic flights, everybody has had questions. Dates, deadlines, and extensions seem to be consistently changing, and there are currently only 27 states that don't need to worry about the Real ID Act. Now, if you're not sure what that is, I would suggest you go look that up. It's called the Real ID Act. Okay? So, however, anybody whose state isn't compliant with Real ID shouldn't lose control. You shouldn't freak out. A passenger card or book will override all state regulations. But for those who want to know how they specifically will be affected by the law's implementation, here are the rules and dates to know as of October 2017, broken down by state. So, Alabama, they are compliant. Citizens can use their state IDs. Alaska has been granted an extension through October the 10th of 2018. Afterwards, a passport or federal ID will be necessary to board a plane. The Alaskan DMV is expected to produce compliant identifications in January of 2019. American Samoa is under review, meaning they have requested an extension that has not yet been granted. The TSA will continue to accept state IDs through January the 22nd of 2018 as part of a grace period. Arizona, they are compliant. Citizens can use their state IDs. Now, so I don't have to keep repeating that part over. If I say they're compliant, just know that the citizens can use their state IDs. They don't need anything else special. So, Arkansas, compliant. California has been granted an extension through October the 10th of 2018. Afterwards, a passport or federal ID will be necessary to board a plane. Californians can apply for a new compliant ID at the DMV starting January the 22nd of 2018. Colorado, compliant. Connecticut, compliant. Delaware, compliant. Florida and Georgia are both compliant. Guam is under review, meaning that they've requested an extension that has not been granted as of yet. The TSA will continue to accept state IDs through January 22nd of 2018 as part of the grace period. Idaho has been granted an extension through October 10th of 2018. Afterwards, a passport or federal ID will be necessary to board a plane. Illinois is under review, and the TSA will continue to accept state IDs through January 22nd, 2018 as part of their grace period. Indiana, Iowa, and Kansas are all compliant. Kentucky has been granted an extension through October 10th of 2018. After that, you will be required to use a passport or federal ID to board a plane. A Real ID complaint card will be available to citizens in mid-2019. Louisiana is under review, and their extension has not been granted yet. TSA will continue to accept state IDs through January 22nd of 2018 as part of the grace period. Maine has been granted an extension through October 10th of 2018. And after that, they will be required to use a passport or federal ID to board a plane. The state expects to issue the Real ID compliant licenses beginning July of 2019. Maryland, we are compliant. Thank you, because I live in Maryland, so we are compliant. Massachusetts has been granted an extension through October the 10th of 2018. They will be getting their Real IDs on March the 26th of 2018. Michigan is under review, and they will continue to accept state IDs through January 22nd of 2018, and they offer an optional Real ID for anyone who wishes to apply. Minnesota has been granted an extension through October the 10th of 2018. Afterwards, they would also need federal ID or a passport. I'm sorry, yeah, passport or federal ID to board a plane. Mississippi, they are compliant. Missouri is under review. And so their extension has not been granted. And TSA will continue to accept state IDs through January 22nd as part of the grace period. Montana has been granted an extension through October 10th of 2018. After that, you will need the boarding necessary federal ID to board a plane. And Montana's citizens can buy a compliant ID starting at $25. Okay, Nebraska, Nevada are both compliant. New Hampshire has been granted an extension through October 10th of 2018. New Jersey has been granted an extension through October 10th, 2018. New Mexico, they are compliant. New York is under review. And the regular IDs will only work. Now get this, you guys. New York is under review. The regular IDs will only work through January the 22nd of 2018. Although the state expects to be granted an extension through 2020. So for New York, your extension is going to go through 2020. Citizens can apply for Real ID at their DMV starting October the 30th of this year. So now you can go and apply for that. New York State enhanced driver's licenses will also work at the airport. North Carolina is compliant. North Dakota has been granted an extension through October of 2020. After that, you will need a passport or federal ID to board a plane. Northern Mariana Islands, they're under review. Okay, TSA will continue to accept IDs through January 22nd as part of their grace period. Ohio is compliant. Oklahoma has been granted an extension through October 10th of 2018. The Oklahoma expects to make Real IDs available in mid to late 2019. Oregon has been granted an extension through October the 10th. Pennsylvania has been granted an extension through October the 10th of 2018. The state expects to make Real IDs available in 2019. So if you're in Pennsylvania, you'll get your Real ID in 2019. Puerto Rico is under review. TSA will continue to accept IDs through January 22nd of 2018 as part of their grace period. Rhode Island is under review. Same thing. TSA will continue to accept their IDs through January 22nd of 2018. South Carolina was granted an extension last week. Citizens of South Carolina will be available to use their state IDs at the airport through October 10th of 2018. New compliant IDs are expected to be available for the first quarter of next year. State citizens can apply for a new ID online. South Dakota, South Dakota, Tennessee, Texas, and Utah are all compliant. U.S. Virgin Islands, they are under review, and TSA will continue to accept IDs through January 22nd of 2018. Vermont, they are compliant. Virginia has been granted an extension through October 10th of 2018. Virginia will begin offering Real ID to their citizens in October of 2018. Washington has been granted an extension through October 10th of 2018, and you can apply for an ID that meets Real ID standards. West Virginia, Wisconsin, and Wyoming are all compliant. So I'm going to leave that information in the description box. Like I said, many of you probably have not heard about this, but I want you to be prepared because, as you can see, in some states, you have to have what is called the Real ID. And if you don't have it, you will be required to have a passport a passport and what else? Or a federal ID. Passport or federal ID. Thank God I have both of those. And my state of Maryland, is compliant anyway, but I do have a passport and I do have a federal ID. So if you live in one of these states that are not compliant, I would encourage you to stay on top of what's going on in your state so that you do not get to the airport only to find out that your state-issued driver's license is not going to get you through that security gate. Okay, so I'm going to leave that information in the description box. for and I'll just probably leave the states, well, just, just make it simple. The states that are compliant, put that in one section. The states that have extensions, I'll just put the state and the extension date. That way, we don't take up too much reading, too much space in the comments, and then you don't have to do a whole lot of reading. So that's all I have for you guys. For my newest subscribers, I want to say thank you so much for taking the time to hit that subscribe button. Make sure you hit that bell if you haven't already done so, you guys, because this week starts the 12 days of Christmas. And that means I will be posting videos for 12 straight days from December the 13th through December the 24th. And I don't want you to miss anything. For those of you that continue to support me in all that I do, I love you guys to the moon and back. And I want to say, I wish you the best in your travels in this upcoming new year. But please be sure that you are staying on top of your state and the travel requirements, because I don't want you guys to have any problems. So until next week, I look forward to seeing you in some airport in the world going someplace really, really nice. Until then, take care.